There's a silent tyranny that whispers in the back of your mind, stealing your peace long before you even realize it's there. It's the constant nagging feeling that you are behind. You scroll, you compare, you listen to the success stories, and that familiar dread creeps in. Someone your age just bought a house. A friend from college is now a CEO. An old classmate is traveling the world. And suddenly, your own journey, your own accomplishments, your own quiet progress feel insignificant. You start to panic. You push harder. You sacrifice sleep, your well-being, your present moment, all in a desperate attempt to catch up to an invisible finish line. And it's exhausting, isn't it? This relentless internal race, always feeling like you're playing catch-up, always feeling like you're not where you should be. But here's the quiet truth nobody tells you. The belief that you are behind is the single greatest illusion holding you back from your own unique path. It's weird how life works. The moment you truly release the pressure of external timelines, not out of resignation, but out of conscious choice, that's when everything starts to align. Not because you sped up, but because you finally slowed down enough to hear your own rhythm. You see, most people spend their entire lives living on someone else's clock. They've internalized a universal timeline for love, career, success, and even healing. And when their reality doesn't match that manufactured script, they experience a profound sense of failure, regardless of their actual progress. But look closer. That urgency, that anxiety about being behind, it doesn't come from your soul. It comes from comparison. It comes from fear. Fear of being left out. Fear of not being enough. Fear that if you don't hit certain milestones by certain ages, you'll never truly make it. But here's what nobody explains. Your life isn't a highway with a single speed limit and designated exits. It's a winding trail through diverse landscapes. And trying to force your unique journey to fit someone else's GPS will only lead to frustration, detours, and missed beauty along your own way. The most vibrant, meaningful lives are rarely lived according to a universal schedule. Real peace, the kind that doesn't crumble when you see someone else's highlight reel, that comes when you stop needing to fix your pace, when you stop asking your life to accelerate to match a metric that was never designed for you. When you finally allow yourself to trust that your own timeline is unfolding exactly as it needs to. And that's where the magic begins. That's where things start showing up for you. Opportunities, insights, connections, a profound sense of inner stability, all without being rushed. Not because you gave up, but because you aligned yourself with how your own unique journey truly moves. You became the calm anchor in the turbulent sea of comparison, and that's when life finally starts responding to your truth. Here's the truth most people never hear. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be, to learn what you need to learn, to grow how you need to grow, and to prepare for what is truly meant for you. It's the quiet decision to stop judging your chapters against someone else's book. Because the more you cling to arbitrary deadlines, the more life slips through your hands. You start micromanaging every little detail, every conversation, every moment, as if the universe is some broken clock you need to fix. But the universe isn't broken. It's just not on your timeline. And here's where it gets real. The moment you truly let go of being behind, you stop living in resistance. You stop waking up with the pressure of needing to race against an invisible competitor. And instead, you begin noticing what's already happening within your unique flow. Opportunities that were always there, signals you used to miss, clarity that feels effortless because it's not rushed. You're not lazy, you're not passive, you're just finally moving with your life, not against it. Because the funny thing is, when you're so focused on controlling the pace, you forget to trust the intelligence behind it. The pauses, the detours, the closed doors, they weren't mistakes. They were redirects. They were quiet whispers telling you, this path is for you, not for them. Trust your own rhythm. And when you realize that, you start showing up differently. You become calm, not because everything is perfect, but because you finally understand you were never meant to carry the weight of the world's expectations on your shoulders. And when you stop trying to control every outcome and every timeline, something unexpected happens. Your presence becomes magnetic, not because you're chasing validation, not because you're trying to prove you're ahead, but because people can feel it. They can sense that you're not operating from urgency anymore. You're not in survival mode. You're not grasping or pleasing or performing. You're simply being. And that kind of energy, it creates safety. It creates gravity. It pulls people in, not because you're performing, but because you're finally aligned with your own truth. And that alignment is powerful.
When you're forcing life to speed up, you're in your head, overthinking, overanalyzing, planning every move to catch up. But when you trust your own timeline, you drop back into your body. You start to notice your own breath again. You listen instead of react. You speak from calm, not from urgency. And that shift alone, it changes how people respond to you. Suddenly, you're not chasing attention. It finds you. You're not demanding success. It flows toward you. Because when you stop forcing your way through life, you become someone who moves through life with depth, someone who knows that silence can say more than noise, that waiting isn't wasted time, that being grounded in your own pace is the most attractive energy there is. So many people exhaust themselves trying to be on schedule, trying to control outcomes in their relationships, careers, even healing, and they miss the point entirely. The less you need to force a borrowed timeline, the more your life flows in the direction that was always meant for you. But you can't fake that trust. You have to build it moment by moment, by sitting in your own present moment without trying to escape it, by being okay with not knowing when things will happen and still moving forward anyway. That's the path. And while it's not loud or dramatic, it's the only one that leads you back to yourself. As you begin living from this place of trusting your own timeline instead of external tension, you'll notice something else. Clarity doesn't come from thinking harder about where you should be. It comes from quiet. When you stop forcing life, your inner world finally has the space to speak, not in loud, obvious ways, but in subtle shifts, in gentle nudges, in that calm knowing you feel when something just aligns without explanation. You've probably felt it before, that soft pull toward a decision that doesn't make sense on paper but somehow feels right in your chest. Or that peace that shows up the moment you decide to let go of the need to be further along. That's the voice of clarity. But it doesn't shout. It only shows up when you've stopped making noise about comparison. Most people drown out that voice not because they want to, but because they've been conditioned to fight their way through life, to hustle, to grind, to think their way through every scenario until they've outsmarted the unknown. But here's the truth. The unknown isn't your enemy. It's your ally. It holds everything your mind can't predict, but your heart already feels. And the moment you stop trying to conquer it with someone else's map, you start to co-create with it using your own inner compass. That's where life begins to unfold differently. You walk into rooms with less fear. You make choices that feel lighter. You stop chasing signs and start becoming one because you've built trust, not just in life, but in yourself and your unique timing. And from that space, you don't need to force clarity. You receive it. You don't need to force success. You align with it. You don't need to force connection. You attract it through presence, through peace, through the way you carry yourself when you no longer carry the burden of being behind. That's the energy shift people can't put their finger on, but they feel it the moment you walk in. And you'll feel it too when you stop asking life to hurry up and start allowing it to meet you where you are on your own terms. And once you start embodying this trust in your own timeline, not pretending, not forcing it, but really living it, you'll begin to notice something else. the world starts to mirror back a different version of you. People respond to your energy before they respond to your words. And when your energy is no longer rooted in desperation, tension, or the need to prove something, you become magnetic in a way that can't be explained, only felt. You see, comparison is a language that whispers insecurity. It says, I don't trust my path, so I need to copy someone else's. But owning your own timeline, that's not passive, it's powerful. It says, I trust that what's meant for me is already moving toward me in its own perfect timing. I don't need to chase it, I need to simply continue my journey, receiving it when it arrives. And that energy, it changes everything. It's the calm confidence that makes people feel safe around you. It's the quiet depth that makes others want to lean in. It's the peace in your eyes that tells someone, even without words, that you've seen life's varied paces and you didn't let them rush you. You let them define your rhythm, and now you're not clinging to borrowed maps. You're flowing with your life like a river that's done trying to outrun the current and instead becomes part of its own unique flow. This is why the moment you stop seeking, stop trying to fix, chase, earn, or control through external comparison, you start experiencing life through a new lens. You begin to receive more support from unexpected places. You cross paths with people who feel like alignment, not effort. You start feeling like time is working with you, not against you. And it's not magic, it's not luck. It's what happens when your nervous system shifts out of fear and into trust. When your energy says, I'm okay, even here, even now, the universe says, good, let's show you how okay you really are. This isn't just a mindset, it's an energetic invitation. And the more you live in that space of owning your timeline, not pretending, not forcing it, but really living it, you'll begin to notice something else. The world starts to mirror back a different version of you. People respond to your energy before they respond to your words. And when your energy is no longer rooted in desperation, tension, or the need to prove something, you become magnetic in a way that can't be explained, only felt. You see, comparison is a language that whispers insecurity. It says, I don't trust my path, so I need to copy someone else's. But owning your own timeline, that's not passive, it's powerful. It says, I trust that what's meant for me is already moving toward me in its own perfect timing. I don't need to chase it, I need to simply continue my journey, receiving it when it arrives. And that energy, it changes everything. It's the calm confidence that makes people feel safe around you. It's the quiet depth that makes others want to lean in. It's the peace in your eyes that tells someone, even without words, that you've seen life's varied paces and you didn't let them rush you. You let them define your rhythm, and now you're not clinging to borrowed maps. You're flowing with your life like a river that's done trying to outrun the current and instead becomes part of its own unique flow. This is why the moment you stop seeking, stop trying to fix, chase, earn, or control through external comparison, you start experiencing life through a new lens. You begin to receive more support from unexpected places. You cross paths with people who feel like alignment, not effort. You start feeling like time is working with you, not against you. And it's not magic, it's not luck. It's what happens when your nervous system shifts out of fear and into trust. When your energy says, I'm okay, even here, even now, the universe says, good. Let's show you how okay you really are. This isn't just a mindset. It's an energetic invitation. And the more you live in that space of owning your timeline, the more the right things, not just anything, start arriving without force. So let's talk about something most people overlook. What happens to your clarity when you stop forcing outcomes based on someone else's schedule? Because here's the paradox. When you're chasing someone else's success, your vision gets blurry. You're so focused on what should have happened by now, you miss what is happening. Opportunities don't vanish when you're comparing. You just don't recognize them. Your mind's busy filtering everything through the lens of inadequacy. Every conversation becomes a measurement. Every quiet moment feels like failure. Every delay becomes personal.
But when you stop gripping so tightly, a strange thing begins to occur. You start seeing clearly again. You start hearing what's actually being said, not through the filter of insecurity or expectation, but through presence. You notice subtle signs you would have missed. You respond rather than react. And from that space, your decisions become quieter, yet smarter, more aligned, more rooted in your truth. This is why people say, when I stopped caring so much, everything worked out. It's not that they gave up. It's that they stopped making decisions from fear, from a place of perceived lack, from the illusion that if they didn't match external benchmarks, nothing would happen. But here's the truth. Things were already happening. They just weren't listening to their own internal clock. When you slow down internally, your outer world doesn't stop. It synchronizes. It starts to match your new pace. You get better results not because you're doing more, but because you're aligned while doing less. And that's the real power of owning your timeline. It brings you back into rhythm with the moment. Not the story in your head, not the anxiety in your chest, but the moment. And the moment always knows what you need more than your overthinking and overcomparing ever could. Now here's where things get even more surprising. When you stop forcing a borrowed timeline, you don't just gain clarity, you gain power. Not the loud, ego-driven kind of power, but quiet, unshakable inner power. The kind that comes from knowing you don't need to chase. You become the one who draws things in instead of running after them. And this changes everything. Because when you operate from trust in your own pace, you stop over-explaining. You stop begging for validation. You stop looking to the outside world to constantly reassure you that you're on track. Instead, your energy speaks first. People feel the calm in your presence. They notice your patience, your steadiness. And that's magnetic. Not because you're trying to be, but because most people are trapped in the race. And you're not. You've broken free from the noise. You're not running around proving your worth. You're not manipulating timelines just to feel ahead. You're allowing life to unfold according to your unique blueprint. And by doing that, you're making space for better things to actually reach you. Because here's the secret. The right moments, the right people, the right opportunities, they're never impressed by someone who's desperate to force. They respond to someone who's ready to receive on their own terms. And readiness doesn't look like frantic effort. It looks like stillness. It looks like quiet confidence. It looks like you living your truth without needing external markers of success. So every time you feel that itch to compare again, to rush, to prove your worth against someone else's clock, breathe. Remind yourself that your timeline is not weakness. It's a deeper kind of wisdom, one that takes more strength than the hustle ever did. And in that wisdom, you become available to what's truly meant for you, not just what you were trying to force into a borrowed schedule. The truth is, when you stop constantly seeking external validation of your progress, everything really does start flowing. Not because you gave up, but because you finally stepped out of your own way. You aren't meant to race, you were meant to journey. And if this message spoke to something deep in you, drop the word timeline in the comments. Let it be your reminder to return to your own pace, to trust your unique path, and to allow what's meant for you to find you in its perfect time. If you're ready for more content like this, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. And thank you for being here, truly. Your energy matters, and it's felt. We'll see you in the next one.